Gotta manifest, peeps. All signs pointed to a signing, so we got a signing. And so now with that, we got a signing. What kind of signs does this signing sign for us? And if trades are signings, and we do any other signings, should we look at past signings as signs of how future signings could be signs for us if we have any upcoming signings? What? So, welcome on into the Blackhawks Daily, folks. I'm PJ Benoit, and this is your home of the real daily story of the Chicago Blackhawks. No fuss, no muss, just a fan. That's me, hanging out with us Hawks homies. That's all you wonderful, shiny, beautiful, kind-hearted people out there. We're just talking hockey, a little general smack about our opponents, but of course we don't have any because we're riding the pine this year. But you know what? If you're new here, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. It's right next to it. Sky's the limit. We're pushing to get over 2,000 folks. And if you agree with my mom that this face was made for radio, then just go ahead and listen to us on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify. Check us out over there. On today's docket, we got Roman Kanserov. He signed his NHL entry deal. Woo! Got him in the old Hawk sweater. That's a beautiful thing. We're also going to take a look at what he brings to the table, and we're gonna take a pause. We're gonna look back at the trade market. We've been talking about trades, right? We're gonna take a look at some of the worst trades in Hawk history, and see how those panned out, right? Because we're kind of chomping at the bit for some trades. Let's take a pause and see what some bad trades did for us as well. Just to keep a balance in the old in our lives, and of course our hot takes. So. It's Friday. Just a quick reminder, the Susan G. Komen race is this Saturday. So if you guys are out, it's supposed to be a beautiful day tomorrow. Oh, well, actually, I think there's supposed to be some rain tomorrow. Hopefully not during the race. So if you can make it, get out to the lakefront. It's at Montrose Harbor. Come on out. Enjoy the day with us. It's actually a super fun and enlightening event. There's truly so much love at the event. Come on out, support everyone. If you can't make it and you want to donate, please go ahead, go to the Susan G. Komen website. If you really want to help a brother out and score some points with my wife, go to careoftheauthor.com, and you can go there and donate. Go to my LinkedIn page. You can donate there. Special shout out to the beautiful Anita Blanton over at Fox 32. She interviewed Kara. And we just had such a great time there. And they were so kind to have us on. And not I say us, but I'm Team Kara. Had Kara on to talk about breast cancer and breast cancer awareness and all that stuff. So to all the women out there, do your mammograms. So important. Get checked. And let's beat this thing, okay? So if you're able to, go walk, go support. Thank you all for that. So anyway, let's talk about our boy, Roman Kanserov, right? He's coming. It's a huge win for us. The wait is over. Roman Kanserov officially coming to Chicago. It's, we've been waiting for this forever, right? It's one of the most exciting pieces of Blackhawks news that we've gotten in a while, right? Because it isn't just some long-term maybe prospect anymore. This is a guy that the Blackhawks clearly believe can step in right away and play a meaningful role with us next season. It matters, right? Because for a while, there was still that little bit of doubt from us fans. Is he actually coming over? Is he going to be staying in Russian longer? This is one of those situations where the hype keeps building, but will the player actually ever get here? Well, now we got the answer. He's here, he signed, and now it gets real. So he signed a 3-year entry-level contract, and the plan is for him to come to North America and play next season. Not Rockford, not a slow ramp-up, not a we'll see how camp goes situation. KD, Kyle Davidson, basically made it clear. The Blackhawks view Kanserov as a guy ready for a top 6 role right out of the gate. It's a major statement. So when you look at what he just did in the KHL, it makes a lot of sense of why they feel that way. Kanserov had 36 goals and 64 points this past season, both records for an under 23 player in that league. He also became the first 21-year-old to lead the KHL in goals since Mr. Kaprizov over at the Wild, right? And that's not some small-time production. That's real, high-level offensive success in one of the toughest leagues outside the NHL. What stood out to me most, so Scott Powers grabbed this from Scott Powers over at The Athletic, in Scott Powers' reporting, was how direct the Blackhawks were about all of this. Davidson said that they believe Kanserov is ready to play meaningful NHL minutes immediately. And Blashill had already been watching him closely, knowing that he could be a significant piece for this team in the very near future. And that kind of tells you everything. This isn't the organization hoping that he develops into something eventually. This is the organization looking at him right now and saying, we think this guy can help us offensively from day one. And for a Blackhawks team that desperately needs more skill, more intelligence, and more support around Connor Bedard, that's huge. Kanserov sounds like exactly the kind of player that this team needs more of. Smart, skilled, accountable, and productive. And if he really does land on the wing in the top six, now all of a sudden this starts looking like, you're looking at this forward group and seeing more NHL talent taking shape. And let's be honest, some Blackhawks fans were worried that this day might not come. Chicago has had Russian prospects in the past that they couldn't get signed. And when Kanserov signed that extension in the KHL not long after being drafted, that definitely kept some of those concerns alive. But according to Davidson, the Blackhawks were always confident. And the biggest reason is simple. Kanserov wants to win a Stanley Cup. He's already won in Russia, and now he wants to come to North America and play in the NHL. And that's a huge part of why this feels so exciting. This isn't a guy being dragged over reluctantly. This is a player who wants to win this challenge, wants this opportunity, and wants to become a part of what Chicago is building. And if he hits, this could be one of the most important second-round picks that Kyle Davidson has made. So, would love to hear from you guys. How excited are you about Roman Kanserov finally coming over? Where would you play him right away? The first line, the second line? Ease him in a little bit lower? I wouldn't. I'd put him in. Him and Frundell, or I don't know. It's there's so many. Let me know what you think in the comment, because this is one of the biggest Blackhawk development stories for the entire offseason, right? This guy's electric. And now all of a sudden you got him and Frundell as mainstays in the top six. Makes things very, very interesting. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. You're very, very smart. You're always got excellent comments. Let me know what you think. And now let's dig in a little bit more about what we're actually getting, right? Because this excitement is real. His numbers in the KHL is real, right? So the hype's definitely real. But it's not just about stats. It's about style. It's about fit. And it's about where he can help Chicago right away. So the segment, right, not about so much about the signing. It's about what he actually brings to the table, what he brings on the ice, right? So he's 21 years old. He's 5'9", another small guy, 176 pounds, but he's not light on his skates. He's a heavier skater, right? So let's see what he brings. He's not just some random scorer that puts up numbers in another league. He looks like a legit top six offensive winger with real intelligence and skill that should translate. And he's been playing, I think he played most of last year at center as well. So just another skill set that he's bringing. What stands out is that he's not just a one-dimensional player. He's not just a shooter. He's not just a playmaker. He can hurt you in multiple ways. He's got quick hands. He changes direction well. He sees the ice at a high level. He processes the game very quickly. It matters because for young players coming over from Europe or from the KHL, one of the biggest questions is whether they can think the game quickly enough for the NHL pace. Even when Frundell came over, he was like, this game is fast, right? So with Kanserov, that doesn't seem to be a concern. He looks like a player who knows where the next play is before a lot of the guys around him do. Another big thing is how he scores. Kanserov can beat goalies cleanly with his shot. He can make plays in tight with his hands. He can create off the rush. And even though he's not a big player, he's not afraid to get into the hard areas. And that's a huge point to look at. Because when players hear smaller skilled winger, they sometimes assume a perimeter player. But from everything that we've seen and everything that's been written about him, and just like I'm getting this from Greg Boyson over at Blackhawk Up, that's really not a full picture here. He's going to attack the middle. He'll work in traffic. He'll work in the front of the net. He's added more defensive responsibility and more physical engagement as well. He's really built up that part of his game. So this is not just a flashy winger. This is a player who looks like he's trying to become a complete top six piece. And when you combine that with the fact that he just had, again, 36 goals and 64 points in the KHL, at the age of 21, you can see why the Blackhawks are excited. And so for the more fun and interesting part, where does he slot in? So he kind of feels like a winger first with top six upside right away. That lines up with what Scott Powers reported, what Kyle Davidson said about him being ready for meaningful NHL minutes right away. I think the safest read is that he starts in the top six on the wing, not at center, and then you let the chemistry figure itself out from there. Could he play with Bedard? Absolutely. If Bedard needs another smart, skilled winger who can finish and keep up offensively, Kanserov makes a lot of sense, right? That seems said to have been Bedard's bane of existence. No one can keep up with him that doesn't have the mindset with him, right? Green played well, but there hasn't been a really good pairing with him, right? That's why, Swoop's been so excited about McKenna or Kane as an option, right? Someone mentally, physically, and stylistically who can keep up with him. Kanserov seems to fit that mold. Could he play with Nazar or Frundell in a second-line role and still get major minutes? Absolutely he can. And honestly, maybe that's the best-case scenario early on, because if you hide, not because you hide him, but because it gives the Blackhawks two lines that could actually threaten teams. It also feels like a player who can, and then also, if he gets on that line, like let's say with Frundell, maybe Nazar moves up with Bedard. I don't know, right? He also feels like a player who can help on the power play, especially if the Hawks want more skill, more deception, and more quick decision-making around the half wall or inside the offensive zone. And if Blashill keeps going with that 5-forward D mix that he was thinking about or that he was playing around with at the end of the year, why not, right? So to me, here's the biggest takeaway. Kanserov is not just coming over as a prospect to watch. He's coming over as a player who should have a chance to matter right away. So would love to hear from you guys. Where would you slot Kanserov in the lineup this coming season? Would you put him with Bedard right away? Or would you rather spread the skill out and let him drive that second line? Because now you got him and Frundell, you got Nazar and Bedard. You can actually you can have two very quality top lines. And you can have two killer top six lines. So let me know what you think in the comments. Be awesome to hear you guys as usual. And we've also been talking. Let's get a good veteran piece into the top six. Let's make some trades. Let's do what we can to get some help on the team. A lot of the time, that means we got to make some trades. Well, we spent a lot of time on this channel talking about the future, Bedard, the draft, the rebuild, all of that. But every once in a while, you got to look back as well. And when you do, you realize this franchise has made some excellent trades. 1,000%. We've made some excellent trades. We've also made some absolutely brutal trades over the years. And I'm talking about deals that didn't just hurt us for a season or two. I'm talking about trades that have changed the direction of the franchise, handed rivals major wins, or let all-time talent walk right out the door. So let's go through probably, some of the 5 of the worst trades in our history, based on a piece by Sal Berry over at the Hockey Writers. So let's talk about back in October of 1991. The Blackhawks wanted to get better defensively, so Mike Keenan made a move that sent Adam Creighton and Steve Thomas to the Islanders for Brent Sutter and Brad Lauer. Now, sure, Sutter brought defense. That part was real, but Chicago gave up too much offense. Creighton had 12 points in 11 games to start that season. Steve Thomas was a legit scorer. When the Blackhawks got to the 1992 Stanley Cup final and we were swept by Pittsburgh, 3 of those losses were by 1 goal. So that's where that one stings, right? Maybe Creighton gives us more size down the middle. Maybe Thomas gives us the extra offense the Hawks desperately needed. Instead, we sacrificed scoring for structure, and it didn't pay off when it mattered the most. Even though the Stanley Cup Finals did give us nationwide, it did give us the national anthem and all the feels of us sharing the anthem with all the troops overseas. Anyway, number 4, Chris Chelios to Detroit Red Wings. This one just still feels wrong. In March of 1999, the Blackhawks traded Chris Chelios to the Red Wings for Anders Eriksson and 2 first-round picks. And there are a few reasons this was a disaster. First, we traded our captain, one of the faces of the franchise, to, at the time, our biggest rival. That one alone, bad enough. And Anders Eriksson was not some major prize, and the picks didn't become franchise-changing pieces either. Meanwhile, Chelios went to Detroit and just kept going. He played 10 more seasons, won 2 Stanley Cups, helped Team USA win Olympic silver, and was still earning major honors into his 50s. So not only did the Hawks trade a legend. They traded him to a rival who actually benefited from it. And that was the kind of move that fans do not forget. I mean, all the best to Chelly, but that hurt us. Number 3, Jeremy Roenick to Phoenix. So this one was about money, plain and simple. And it was such a slight to JR. In 1996, Jeremy Roenick was already an elite center and a Hawks fan favorite. And the Blackhawks did not want to pay him what he was worth. So he wanted 5 years at $4 million per year. So instead of meeting that price, Chicago shipped him to Phoenix for Alexei Zhamnov, Craig Mills, and a first-round pick. So the idea was that Zhamnov would replace JR for less, and that did not go smoothly. Phoenix had no problem signing Roenick, and meanwhile, the Hawks couldn't even get Zhamnov under contract before the season started. So then, just 8 games into the year, Chicago ended up signing Zhamnov anyway for a 5-year, $15 million deal. So remember, JR wanted $4 million per year for 5 years. So he wanted $20 million, and we ended up signing Zhamnov for $15 million. So basically, the Hawks saved some money. We saved $5 million. Lost a superstar and alienated a huge chunk of the fan base. So not smart business, just super bad management. And speaking of bad management, let's go to number 2. Philip Esposito going to Boston. So this is one of the biggest what-ifs in our franchise history. Back in 1967, the Blackhawks traded Phil Esposito, Ken Hodge, and Fred Stanfield to Boston for Gilles Marat, Pitt Martin, and Jack Norris. And the story behind it makes it even worse. Esposito reportedly rubbed people the wrong way in the organization, and ownership didn't love his finesse style. So instead of embracing an elite offensive center, they moved him. And then what happened next? He just became Phil Esposito. He rewrote record books, won the Art Ross 5 times, made 8 All-Star teams, and helped Boston win 2 Stanley Cups. The Blackhawks had a loaded core in that era and could have built something special. Instead, they helped launch Boston's golden age, and that one hurts on a historic level. In fact, before the trade, at a party, Phil Esposito reportedly, in a drunken conversation with the GM and the coach, told them, hey, we have an excellent core here. We are on the brink of a dynasty, and I bet you that you two guys are going to mess it up. And they took offense to that, and they traded him, and they did. That's called self-fulfilling prophecy. So there you go. All right. Number 1, we mentioned Keenan before. Here's Keenan again. Dominic Hasek being traded to Buffalo. This is the worst of the worst. So August 1992, the Blackhawks traded Dominic Hasek to Buffalo for Stefan Beauregard, and a draft pick. And then Beauregard was flipped for Christian Ruutu. Another who? And that's as bad as it sounds. This is Dominic Hasek, who we're talking about, one of the greatest goalies of all time. He had already dominated overseas, won major awards in Czechoslovakia, then even made the NHL All-Rookie team in 1992. Despite limited action, the talent was there, the upside was obvious, but the Hawks chose to move him instead of betting on what he could become. And then, what did this Dominic kid do? He became a Hall of Famer, a 2-time league MVP, 6-time winner of the top goaltending honors, and just one of the absolute best to ever be in net. Meanwhile, Christian Ruutu gave the Blackhawks very, very little. This is why it's number 1, because when you trade away an all-time great goalie, before he becomes an all-time great goalie, there's just no recovering from how bad that looks in hindsight. So, Blackhawks fan, this franchise has had some rough ones. We've had many. Trading away offense for defense that didn't move the needle, trading stars to rivals, refusing to pay elite talent, and worst of all, giving up on all-time players before they fully become all-time players. This is the kind of history that makes you hope the front office gets these next few years right. So, want to hear from you guys. Which of these trades do you think is the worst in Blackhawks history? Is it Hasek, Esposito, Roenick, or is there another deal that you feel deserves to be on this list? Let me know in the comments. You guys are excellent in the comments, as always, so thoughtful and passionate. All right, Let's get to the comments really fast. We've got Logan Mac Dicing. Or Disking. I'm sorry. Logan Mac Disking. I'm going to say welcome to the party, pal. I was at the San Jose game. Great game. Started slow, but the finish was amazing. I'm sure it was. I was not at that game. I wish I was. Logan, you lucky devil you. Thank you. Welcome to the party, pal. Thank you for your comment. So glad you got to experience that. That's very cool. Way to go, buddy. Grain Not, new commenter. Welcome to the party, pal. I really thought we would finally be something all right this season during that long road trip where Bedard got his first hat trick against the Sens. Yeah. Oh, I remember that moment. Yeah, that would have been cool. What? Oh, that would have been awesome too. Oh, I've never been to Ottawa. That would have been a cool game to be at. Thank you for that, buddy. Thank you for traveling with the team and sharing the Chicago love abroad. Nicely done. Thank you so much for that. Thank you for being a part of this community as well. Alan T. Willie, 192, repeat offender extraordinaire. Hello, PJ. I was at the Taves return in January and the last game versus the Sharks. Man, way to go. Great games to be at, buddy. Definitely two of the best of the season. The thing about Burakovsky that upset me most was how often he either turned the puck over, chest inside the attack zone, leading to unnecessary odd man breaks. Yeah, I know. Backbreakers every time that happens. Veteran players know if a play isn't there to get the puck in deep, make the opponent come 200 feet to get a chance. Burakovsky gets a D from me with a check from Danny and a request not to return to September. It'll be interesting to see the competition between Soderblom and Comesso and Camp. Don't bring in an outsider, is what he is saying. Thank you, Alan. Appreciate your comments as usual, sir. Johnny Half 6558, repeat offender extraordinaire. I love that St. Louis game, the 8-3 game. Yeah, they made Binnington look like Captain Binghamton from McHale's Navy. Oh my God, way back in the day. You're giving away your age, Johnny. Be careful, buddy. Thank you so much for your comment, buddy. I really appreciate that. Chris Kavanaugh, 4575. I believe that number 2 is in-house. Soderblom is not as bad as you say. And Comesso is promising. Burakovsky, thank you for your services, but goodbye. Appreciate all of that, and I agree with you wholeheartedly. Like I said, Soderblom actually stood on his head many games for us. We just need better D. We need better D, a better system for D, and we need these guys to step up. And they will, as long as they're not too shell-shocked. They will. Sergius Paulus, I'm going to say is a new commenter. Welcome to the party, pal. Highlights of any game often show Hawks defense planted like ducks in a shooting gallery. The only time defense should be planted is at the crease, clogging the opponents. To stop a goal, the whole team should converge at the crease to give their all to come to the goalie's rescue. Aggressive defense will build up any goalie's desire to not let the team down and the fans down with nonsense goals. We also need a replacement for Corey Perry like a Jamie Benn. Go Hawks. Thanks, Sergius. Appreciate that. Welcome to the party, pal. Thank you for being a part of this community. T-Bones 51. I think the hit AB Andrei Burakovsky made him very shy of contact. Where he used to drive, he then did more chip and chase. Can't grade him. Buy him out. All right, sir. Thank you very much. And you agree, should not be back next year. Thank you for that, T-Bone. Appreciate you, buddy. Matt's 436, becoming a repeat offender extraordinaire. I would personally keep both Drew and Arvid rather than looking for a goalie who's going to fill the next 20 games. Arvid and Drew are both developing well. I would rather have Hasek Belfour situation. Look at you, reading my mind of what I'm going to bring up to talk about this episode in 2028 than the current defensive struggles that we have. Look for depth at D, get some wingers, and add where you need. Great comment, buddy. Thank you so much, Matt. Really appreciate that. Sergeant Baloney, 6662. With a name like that, I would hope I would remember that. So I'm going to say repeat offender. If not, welcome to the party, pal. But that's a great screen name. Instead of getting another soft-scoring winger, I think we need someone like Tom Wilson who can give toughness, hitting, and can score. We do have some big guys coming in, and we got some guys with grit, right? AJ Spellacy, he's got some little bit of bite to his game. Pridham's got some bite to his game. I believe Mustard's got some mustard to his game. Terrible pun. Anyway, I think some of these guys are coming in as well that can bring a little grit. So very true. But thank you so much, Sergeant. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. And that is a wrap for today, Blackhawks Nation. If you're new here, welcome. Please subscribe. Please help us get over 2,000 subscribers. Don't forget to follow us at Apple Podcasts and Spotify as well. If you're a regular, thank you so much for your support and for spreading the word about the channel to all your family, friends, and neighbors. It means the world to me. It seriously does. It's my best part of my everyday. Absolute honor building the very best community in hockey with all of you fine feathered folks. And as we say, we celebrate the very best team in hockey with the very best fans, you guys, Hawks fans, the very best fans in all of sports, in the greatest city this beautiful blue dot has ever known, our beautiful Chicago. Enjoy your weekend. Go out, celebrate yourselves, celebrate Susan G. Komen, celebrate people and support people, those who are fighting this good fight against breast cancer. Please support them. They need it. 1 in 8 women get it. Far, far too many people get it. So if you know a woman, I guarantee you she knows a woman who's gotten breast cancer. It is way too pervasive. Please help us fight it. Thank you for that. So I am PJ, and we will see you next time. Have a great weekend on the Blackhawks Daily.